Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/spookshow. Then go over to morbidlybeautiful.com as we are now part of the Morbidly Beautiful Podcasting Network.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Roll two! Roll two! Yo, two!
Everybody here dies by dawn. Dead by dawn!
Welcome to the Spook Show. Hello, welcome to the latest edition of the All-American Spook Show podcast. I'm Josh, and I'm joined here with Donnie.
Yo.
Tiana.
Hey.
And the Professor Smoke.
What's up?
And this week we're dipping our toes back into the Spookshow Spotlight pool, and we figured this would be a good time to talk about our big winter event that's going to be coming up in the month of January. And we're going to tell you what that is and what that's about in just a minute. But basically, the whole theme of this episode will be winter horror movies. So we're calling it Winter is Coming. Right? We're getting all clever here, right? Because it's not quite winter yet, but it'll be here any minute. And we've got a big event planned, and so we'll dive into that. Some of the movies that we're going to be talking about, throughout the month of January and February. But essentially, just like winter horror. That broadens it. And that won't be what we're talking about necessarily in that event, but like what we're talking about today is just kind of broaden the horizons. And I think you got to start, in my opinion, in a place that we've already been just last year during the Spook Show Summer Disaster, and that is The Thing. When I think of a horror movie in the winter, that's like the first thing that pops into my head, right?
Yeah, that's like, I think I mentioned in that episode, that's one of my favorite kind of settings is that isolated setting, like in the Antarctica, and preferably polar Arctic type setting. Although outer space can also be in there too, like Alien, right? Alien and The Thing kind of share some common ground in that claustrophobic atmospheric type thing,
Yeah, they definitely share some DNA, in different ways. You got kind of the same thing going on, but in different places, right?
Different,
Very
both
similar.
kind of isolated, claustrophobic type settings.
Another good one that we did that just came to mind was 30 Days of Night, right? That's a good, that's a good, that was back in the second summer.
Alaska, talking about Alaska's getting ready to go through.
Wait, that period?
Yeah, I saw that. Like, what is it, like 60 something days of night?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Up in like northern, like the northernmost part. Alaska. That would drive you insane. But it was fertile ground though for that movie 30 Days of Night, right? Because like you take that premise of a real thing that we were just talking about, and now you throw vampires into that. Like I just think in premise alone it's perfect.
Yeah, I think who was it? Steve Niles that did the comic. I don't know who came up with the actual concept or whatever, if it was him, but yeah, that was a great aha moment.
Yeah,
what would be a cool event? Oh, this place where it's nighttime for that many days out of the year or month or whatever stuff, whole month. So perfect.
Now, luckily for them, I think the trade-off up there in that northern Alaska is that at some point in the summer they have like 80 or 90 days of sunlight.
Yeah.
So there's the trade-off, right?
There's the trade. Yeah, definitely. I could do more so the night thing than the day thing. That'd drive me crazy to be all daytime all the time.
And that would fuck up your sleep pattern so bad.
Yeah.
No, I'd be down for it.
What, the daylight or
all daylight all the time?
Never night? Dude, I don't know, man. That would drive you nuts eventually.
Yeah,
like
all night all the time? No. Because
I could do that one.
But you could sleep. But you could sleep. Like I think it'd be easier to sleep if it was nighttime all the time than it would be.
No.
I guess that's why God made blackout curtains, right?
Well, I guess so. I'm about to pass out at work sometimes.
Yeah. Either way, I think it was a good setting for a horror, and maybe there's been other horror movies that take advantage of that too. If not, there needs to be something that kind of takes advantage of that all night.
That's setting.
Exactly.
Plus we've done, the Christmas horror, and as far as what we've done in the past, like Black Christmas, Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Just recently,
the Ginger Dead Man.
Shit, the Ginger Dead Man.
That classic Arctic horror movie, Frozen. With that, let it go, let it go. Oh, I know.
No, we didn't do that. Wrong podcast.
That just reminded me of Jack was it Jack Frost, right?
Jack
the killer,
Frost,
the killer
yeah.
snowman. Dude, we need. I don't think we've done that on any of the things that we've
No.
done, but goddamn, we need to do that movie.
Yeah.
That one's batshit crazy, and unfortunately, it won't fit the Polar Predators theme that we've got that we're about to explain.
No.
But
Yeah.
that would, that one needs to get shoehorned in here somewhere.
Which
so.
actually, you just already you said you will tease it later, and then you just
I just
revealed
said
it.
the name. That's
Yeah.
the name of it, but I didn't explain what it was. And I did. Okay, well that's a good enough spot, right? Who fucking cares? We're doing the format here. So our winter event that will start in January, we're going to be calling it Polar Predators. Now the whole theme is going to be winter monsters, winter beasts, yetis, right?
Yeti
Smoke.
Yankers. No, that
Yeah, that was one of the when we were workshopping, right? Names for what we're going to call this, and we love alliteration, like Sucky Summer and stuff, right? So we went with Polar Predators, but Smoke over there said we should call it Yeti Yankers. Now, that's a whole different event, and you know what? To each their own, but not me, brother, not me.
Trying to get his Yeti yanked.
Yep. Now is that? So you took the opposite.
Is that
approach.
by a Yeti? That'd be really dangerous. So.
Yeah, to see, like Donnie, you in your head, you went the other way, like he's trying to get his Yeti yanked. I'm thinking like he's trying to fuck a monster. Is what I was thinking.
It's a very delicate process.
Yeah,
you gotta, like, once
you know.
you find them, you gotta like coax them. But, it's different. It's difficult.
It's a very nuanced
sap for
process.
Shit. Yeah.
Anyways, that's not what we're doing.
At least you have
we're not
snow for
doing Yetis.
colorizing anything like for the pain.
Shit.
Stick in the snow.
All right.
We're not doing anything
That's
to
funny.
we're not doing anything to Yetis in our winter event. But there's going to be plenty of Yeti fun. I think is kind of what we're working on. Now we have a running list. Now like some of these I've seen, most of them I have not. So I'll kind of run down the list. These we're not doing all of these. These are just kind of the ones that we're toying, like putting in there. We'll probably end up doing about 10 to 12 of them though before the whole event's over with, because it's going to go through all the way through the month of February, not only here on the podcast proper, but it will cross over into Video Vortex and Grindhouse Gutter over on our YouTube series. Now Hammer Horror, that's its own thing, right? Because we're doing those in the chronological order in which they were released. So unless it just so happens to be a winter style movie that came out like at that exact same time, then it won't. And actually, I've got the list of Hammer. It won't have anything to do with that, with the two selections that will be in January and February. So we can skip that. But the list that we're kind of working off of is we start with 1954's The Snow Creature. And then in 1955, there was one called Half Human. And then in 1956, there was another one called Man Beast. Now, Smoke, this is one you said you had a copy of or something, right? This is one you've seen before, right?
I got that on. I got a VHS copy of that one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, another one that we have seen because we did it on Hammer Horror in Order was from 1957, and that was The Abominable Snowman. So I think this is one that we definitely want to get in there somewhere, right? We don't know the order of everything yet, but I think that's one that we would like to get on this event.
Yeah.
In 1959, there was one called Beast from Haunted Cave. Then in 1974, Shriek of the Mutilated. This is when you get into that 70s weird Yeti snow beast monster phase. Like it seems like there was like this little run of like there was a handful of these movies and then it stopped again. Like in the 50s and then nothing in the 60s and then the 70s, nothing in the 80s, then a little bit in the 90s and then into the 2000s. It's kind of the pattern. So it's like every 20 years there's a new set of Abominable Snowman, Yeti, Winter Beast movies. 1975's Night of the Howling Beast. Now that's one of those Paul Naschy flicks, right?
Yeah, that's a one of his Count Waldemar Daninsky. It's his werewolf character that it was over the course of I can't remember exactly 12, 13 movies or something like that he played that character in. He was the werewolf character, and that one also has an interesting alternate title, which is The Werewolf and the Yeti. Because
Paul Naschy, or that, like you said, whatever the character's name was, he was always a werewolf, right?
Yeah, he was at least in those movies. I think he did a bunch of other movies where he played other characters or whatever, but his main role that he would play was that Waldemar Daninsky character, which was a werewolf. Yeah.
In 1977, we have Snow Beast, and then also that same year, one of the more ridiculous looking movies you'll ever see. And we got to get this thing in somewhere, right? Yeti, giant of the 20th century. This,
Yeah, and I've never seen that. And I think I came across the title sometime, what was it, a couple of years back? And then I sent a scene or a GIF or something from it on our group chat because of how absurd
yeah,
this
like
one particular scene was. And ever since then, I've been wanting to see this movie.
some like
Been putting it
50-foot
off
tall
for-
Yeti storming through New York or some shit. Like it
Yeah.
looks batshit crazy.
And it's Italian, I believe.
Yeah, yep.
Probably dubbed in English. I'm hoping it's dubbed in English, so that'll be even more absurd.
Yeah.
The dubbing into English rather than just a
I think it's going to be absurd with a
Subtitles.
capital A. I don't think we have to worry about that. Speaking of absurd, let's fast forward to the 90s. The only one that I could find in the 90s, particularly 1994. It's a movie starring Meatloaf. It's a family movie called To Catch a Yeti. This looks bad. Like as bad as Yeti, giant of the 20th century. This is like the opposite of like that one looks so bad it looks good. This one's like so bad it's probably bad. Like this looks straight to video bad. So we got to figure out where this one fits in because I think that might be it's torture, but it can be fun to talk about, right? So like that one might have to get in there somewhere. Then you get into the 2000s. You've got There's two movies called Abominable. One in 2006 and then one in 2020. Then this one kind of fits what we're talking about here with snow monsters and whatnot. In 2007, Ice Spiders. Now you're getting into that sci-fi TV, made-for-TV movie era of these movies. So there's Ice Spiders, Yeti, Curse of the Snow Demon, Rage of the Yeti. Donnie, this one's for you. Snow Shark, Ancient Snow Beast. That sounds like... I think Donnie just quit. Deadly Descent, The Abominable Snowman from 2013. Then in 2014, oh God, Avalanche Sharks. Now this must have been in the middle of the Sharknado craze. They decided to make a avalanche. So it's a fucking mountain avalanche of sharks, I guess. We'll find out. Then in 2019, there was Snow Monster. So like, that's kind of the working list that we have. Once again, we're not going to do all those, but, and I'm sure, look, if you're listening, and you have something that I didn't just yell out, hit us up with it. Like we're more than happy to add some more movies to this list to kind of mix some stuff up. So if there's something you can think of that we're not thinking of that has, say, something to do with Yetis, like snow monsters, winter beast, however you want to phrase it, right? You get where we're going with the theme. If you have any suggestions, throw them at us, and we'll add them to the list and see what comes out. But it's going to be crossing over, Video Vortex, Grindhouse Gutter, and all the podcast episodes through most of January and all of February until we finally get back to normal programming in March. So I think I'm looking forward to it, man. I think it's going to be something different to do in the winter months, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
this will be the first time we've done any sort of winter series.
Yeah.
Because we've typically all done, saved it for the summer.
I look at it as another excuse to avoid Hellraiser a little longer.
Until, Hellraiser versus the Yeti.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's in development right now at Fox or something.
Maybe. Oh, yeah. It'll
Somebody's
be
getting yanked.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's enough of Yeti and
Pinhead
Yankin.
versus the Yeti Yanker.
Yeah.
That'd be rough.
Somebody out there is going to like,
think you know pain.
somebody's going to like Photoshop the professor's head on a Yeti. It's the Yeti Yanker. Watch out.
Lord only got enough snow in my beard.
Yeah, there you go. Along with age comes the wisdom to get the Yeti to do stuff to you, so you don't have to chase the Yeti down. You see. Well, that's enough. I'm sure we could go on and on for days on this subject, but we're going to have 2 months to go into this subject come January. So we wanted to do kind of a brief spotlight episode on what's coming, what to expect, and kind of fishing for ideas too. If you've got anything you'd like to see or hear us do during this Polar Predators event, you can message us on all of our socials. You can also email us at allamericanspookshow@gmail.com. So I guess that's pretty much it. Next week here on the podcast, we'll be going full Christmas. And it was Will's pick this time around. And in our new rotation, he had to pick, what do we call it? Not newer, but
Recent?
No, it was one from like, God damn it, we need to have labels, but basically I had to pick something from 1970 to 1999. So whatever that label was, older.
Yeah, that was newer. It's still newer.
Okay, well, whatever. That time period, he had to pick something from that time period, and he went with a big one.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. That's older.
Yeah, I think it's vintage is like 1969 back.
Yeah.
Older is like
70
to 99, and then newer is 2000 to 5 years ago, and then
2020.
Recent is within the last 5 years. So that's the new rotation. So he had to pick a older one, that time frame, and he went with a huge one from the 80s, Gremlins. I think we've tried to get this one on a couple of times, and for whatever reason, we didn't get to it. But
yeah,
this, I think it's going to be, I mean, I love Gremlins. It's going to be an awesome episode. Hopefully Will's able to join us, since it's his pick. And I think that's probably a tease that this is going to be a very highly rated episode. So I don't think we're going to have a lot of shit to talk about this one. So yeah, we'll be knee deep into the holiday season starting next week with Gremlins. And we're actually going to have a bonus episode next Friday as well, because in the month of December we have a Friday the 13th. So we're going to be throwing a special bonus Christmas horror at you. So you're getting 2 for the price of 1 next week. 2 fresh episodes, Gremlins, and then whatever we're going to throw you on Friday the 13th. It's too bad they didn't make a Jason Christmas movie, right? Because that would have been perfect. So there we go. So for Will, who couldn't be with us, Donnie, Tiana, Professor Smoke, I'm Josh. We are the All-American Spook Show. And come back next week for Gremlins.
Please replace the speaker on its rack when you're ready to leave. Failure to do so will damage both the speaker and your car. We'll be grateful, and so will the patrons who follow you.